Welcome back to WNBA Hoops TV. Today, we're diving into a story that has basketball fans talking everywhere. The 2025 WNBA season has been filled with unforgettable moments, rising rivalries, and debates that seem to grow louder with every passing week. But few stories have sparked as much conversation as the growing controversy surrounding Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark and one of her closest teammates, Sophie Cunningham. What began as another physical chapter in an already intense season suddenly evolved into a discussion about player protection, league discipline, and the responsibility teammates feel when one of their own becomes the center of constant attention. Then came the headlines. Reports of Sophie's suspension immediately ignited social media. Fans began asking the same question. Had the league gone too far? Was this simply enforcing the rules? Or had the punishment become part of a much larger conversation surrounding the Fever and the treatment of one of the league's biggest stars? As the debate intensified, another storyline emerged. According to widespread media reports, Caitlin Clark made it clear that protecting teammates and demanding consistency from the league mattered more than remaining silent. Analysts, former players, and fans all interpreted her public comments differently. Some believed she was sending a message to league officials. Others felt she was simply standing behind a teammate who had. The conversation surrounding the Indiana Fever was no longer just about wins and losses. It had become a debate over identity. Was this simply a young team learning how to compete under the brightest spotlight in women's basketball? Or was something larger unfolding? A growing frustration with how physical games involving Caitlin Clark were being officiated and how the league responded afterward. As the season progressed, every nationally televised Fever game seemed to carry another viral moment. Hard fouls, heated exchanges, technical fouls, and endless debate filled television broadcasts and social media timelines. With Clark attracting unprecedented attention to the WNBA, every incident involving her was analyzed from every possible angle. That context mattered, because when Sophie Cunningham found herself at the center of disciplinary action, many observers didn't view the situation in isolation. Instead, they connected it to weeks of mounting physical play involving the Fever. Whether those comparisons were fair or not, they shaped public perception almost immediately. For Indiana, this wasn't just another news cycle. It was another challenge for a roster still trying to establish itself as a championship contender while navigating extraordinary public attention. Inside the Fever organization, the priority remained basketball. Head coach Stephanie White repeatedly emphasized composure, execution, and controlling only what the team could control. Throughout the season, she consistently encouraged her players to avoid distractions and focus on improving together. But anyone watching could see the emotional toll that constant controversy created. Every whistle seemed to generate debate. Every post-game interview became another opportunity for questions about officiating instead of basketball. Every hard foul threatened to overshadow what happened on the scoreboard. That kind of environment is difficult for any team. It's even harder for one filled with players expected to compete under a microscope every single night. For Caitlin Clark, adapting to that reality became part of her professional journey. Since entering the WNBA, she had rarely taken the bait publicly. Instead of making explosive accusations, Clark generally redirected questions toward basketball, praised her teammates, and acknowledged that physical defense is part of the professional game. Still, there were moments when her comments reflected a broader desire for consistency. Not special treatment, not favoritism, simply consistency. That distinction became one of the most discussed aspects of the entire debate. Supporters argued that all players deserve equal protection regardless of popularity. Critics countered that physical basketball has always been part of the WNBA and shouldn't suddenly be viewed differently because of increased media attention. Those competing perspectives fueled endless discussion across sports television, podcasts, and online communities. Former players offered different interpretations. Some believed the league's physical style represented one of its greatest competitive strengths. Others argued that unnecessary escalation ultimately hurts everyone involved, including the players responsible for delivering the league's best basketball. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham's reputation added another layer to the story. Long before joining Indiana, Cunningham had developed a league-wide reputation as one of the WNBA's fiercest competitors. She wasn't known for backing away from confrontation. She embraced physical basketball. She played with emotion. She defended teammates. That competitive identity followed her throughout her career. To many Fever fans, those qualities made her an ideal teammate for a young roster learning how demanding professional basketball can be. When disciplinary action became part of the story, Many supporters viewed it through that lens. They saw a veteran standing up for teammates. Others believed league discipline was necessary regardless of intent. Again, opinions differed dramatically, and that's exactly why the story refused to disappear. The discussion had expanded far beyond one play or one suspension. It became a larger conversation about accountability. Where should officials draw the line? How much physicality is acceptable? Should repeat incidents involving any team lead to changes in officiating? Or is controversy simply inevitable whenever elite competitors collide? Those questions had no simple answers. What made the situation even more fascinating was how Indiana continued to evolve despite the distractions. The Fever weren't just relying on Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah Boston continued developing into one of the league's most dependable interior players, providing scoring, rebounding, and defensive stability. Kelsey Mitchell remained one of the WNBA's most dangerous offensive weapons, capable of changing a game with a scoring burst. Veteran leadership throughout the roster helped maintain perspective even as outside noise intensified. That balance became essential, because championship-caliber teams aren't defined only by talent. They're defined by how they respond when circumstances become difficult. Every practice became another opportunity to block out headlines. Every film session returned focus to defensive rotations, offensive execution, and transition basketball. Inside the locker room, basketball remained the priority. Outside the locker room, however, the conversation showed no signs of slowing down. National broadcasts revisited controversial plays. Sports debate shows questioned whether officiating standards needed adjustment. Fans dissected slow-motion replays frame by frame. Even neutral observers found themselves choosing sides. One camp argued the Fever, and Clark in particular, received excessive attention because of their popularity. Another believed that increased visibility simply exposed issues that had existed long before Clark entered the league. The truth likely depended on who was asked. But one fact remained undeniable. Interest in the WNBA had reached historic levels. Every major storyline attracted millions of viewers. Every controversy generated enormous engagement. Every Fever game became one of the league's biggest attractions. With that growth came increased scrutiny, not only for players but also for referees, coaches, and league leadership. Every decision carried greater consequences than ever before. That reality created enormous pressure. Pressure on officials to remain consistent. Pressure on players to maintain composure. Pressure on coaches to answer difficult questions. And pressure on league executives to demonstrate that player safety and competitive integrity remained priorities. As the regular season moved forward, attention gradually shifted back toward basketball. Playoff positioning tightened. Every victory became increasingly valuable. Indiana's chemistry continued improving. Clark's playmaking reached another level, while teammates grew more comfortable alongside her. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the team might finally move beyond weeks of controversy. But in sports, momentum can change almost overnight. Another nationally televised matchup loomed. Another emotionally charged atmosphere awaited. Another opportunity for both basketball brilliance and renewed controversy was just around the corner. And what happened next would once again test not only the Fever's resilience, but also the league's ability to balance fierce competition with the responsibility of protecting every player on the floor. As the regular season entered its most important stretch, the spotlight on the Indiana Fever never faded. Every nationally televised game felt bigger than the last. Every possession involving Caitlin Clark seemed destined to become another talking point. Yet amid all the headlines, one reality became increasingly clear. The Fever could no longer allow outside noise to define who they were. The controversy surrounding Sophie Cunningham's suspension eventually gave way to a broader realization. Basketball would always be a physical sport. The WNBA's competitiveness had been built over decades by athletes who embraced intensity, toughness, and resilience. That identity wasn't changing. At the same time, the league also faced growing expectations from a rapidly expanding audience that wanted consistency in officiating and a continued emphasis on player safety. Those two ideas weren't mutually exclusive. In fact, many current and former players argued they could and should coexist. For Indiana, the most effective response wasn't another public statement. It was winning. Night after night, the Fever continued developing into one of the league's most exciting young teams. Caitlin Clark's court vision, deep shooting range, and ability to elevate teammates remained the centerpiece of the offense. Aaliyah Boston continued anchoring the paint with maturity beyond her years. Kelsey Mitchell's scoring provided another constant threat, while veterans, including Sophie Cunningham when available, brought experience and intensity that couldn't always be measured on a stat sheet. The chemistry that had seemed uncertain early in the season gradually became one of Indiana's greatest strengths. And perhaps that was the biggest lesson of the entire episode. Adversity doesn't automatically divide a team. Sometimes it brings players even closer together. Throughout the season, Clark consistently redirected attention toward her teammates whenever possible. Rather than making herself the center of every discussion, she emphasized preparation, trust, and the collective goals of the group. Her approach reflected the same mindset that had defined much of her basketball career. Let the game speak louder than the headlines. That didn't stop the debates. Fans continued discussing officiating. Analysts continued examining physical play around the league. Social media continued replaying controversial moments from every angle. But inside the Fever organization, the focus remained remarkably steady. Improve every day. Support one another. Compete for every possession. Those principles ultimately mattered more than any viral clip. The broader impact of the season extended well beyond Indiana. The WNBA experienced record-breaking attendance, television ratings, and fan engagement. New audiences discovered longtime stars, emerging talents, and intense rivalries that had existed long before this particular season. While Caitlin Clark undeniably brought unprecedented attention to the league, that attention also highlighted the incredible depth of talent across every roster. The conversations, even the controversial ones, introduced millions of new fans to the sport. Some tuned in because of Clark. Others stayed because they discovered the remarkable level of competition throughout the league. In many ways, that represented a victory for women's basketball as a whole. Looking back, the storyline surrounding Sophie Cunningham's suspension was never just about one disciplinary decision. It became a symbol of a league experiencing rapid growth. Growth brings opportunity, but it also brings scrutiny. Every call is examined more closely. Every decision is debated more intensely. Every controversy becomes bigger than it might have been only a few years earlier. That's the reality of playing in a league whose popularity continues to rise. For league officials, the challenge moving forward is balancing the physical, competitive nature that defines professional basketball with the responsibility to apply rules consistently for every player, regardless of reputation or marketability. For players, the challenge is equally demanding. Compete fiercely, protect teammates, maintain composure, adapt to increasing attention, and continue delivering the level of basketball that has captivated millions of fans. As for Caitlin Clark, the season reinforced something many had already begun to recognize. Her influence extends far beyond points and assists. Every game she plays generates conversations about the future of the WNBA. Every milestone draws new viewers. Every challenge she faces becomes part of a larger story about the league's evolution. That influence also comes with enormous responsibility, something Clark has repeatedly acknowledged through her emphasis on team success over individual recognition. Whether fans agreed or disagreed with the discussions surrounding officiating or player discipline, one point remained undeniable. People were watching, more people than ever before, and that growing audience is shaping the next chapter of women's professional basketball. Years from now, fans may not remember every technical foul, every controversial whistle, or every disciplinary decision from this season, but they will likely remember the atmosphere, the intensity, the passion, the feeling that the WNBA had entered a transformative moment. A moment where every game mattered a little more, every rivalry felt a little bigger, and every player understood that the league was reaching new heights. For the Indiana Fever, the mission never changed. Play together. Keep improving. Let the results on the court tell the story. Everything else would eventually fade. The headlines would change. The debates would move on. Another controversy would inevitably take its place. But the lessons learned through adversity, the trust built between teammates, the resilience developed under pressure, and the commitment to staying focused despite constant distractions would remain long after the season ended. And perhaps that's the true legacy of this chapter. Not an ultimatum, not a suspension, not even the endless debates that surrounded them. Instead, it's the reminder that basketball has always been about far more than a single moment. It's about how teams respond when the pressure is greatest, how players support one another when challenges arise, and how a league continues to grow through both triumphs and controversy. As the WNBA continues its remarkable rise, stories like this will remain part of its journey, not because they overshadow the game, but but because they reveal just how deeply fans now care about every possession, every decision, and every chapter still waiting to be written. Stories like this remind us why basketball is about more than highlights, statistics, or championships. It's about resilience, teamwork, leadership, and the moments that spark conversations across the entire sports world. Whether you agreed with the league's decisions or saw the situation differently, one thing is certain. The passion surrounding the WNBA has never been greater, and that's helping the game reach new audiences every single day. If you enjoyed this documentary, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to WNBA Hoops TV, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories shaping women's basketball. We'd also love to hear your perspective in the comments. How do you think the league should balance physical competition with player safety? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary.